Hello, fellow teachers. My name is Aiden Bentley, or Mr. Bentley, and I took some time to teach decimals to a student. I took time to plan it, to teach it, and then also to reflect and look back. So I created this video as an opportunity for me to reflect, and then also hopefully to be a great resource for you that you would learn as well, get some tips from me. So the student I chose was one of my friends, Jake Fuquay. He's a junior in high school. And I asked him just a few different questions about decimals, about operations, and just his experience with math, kind of some of his understanding. I did an informal assessment. Took about 10-15 minutes, so it wasn't too time consuming. And I felt like there wasn't any pressure where whether he knew the answer or not, or if he was able to elaborate or not, he was just kind of able to go, and I could ask questions as needed or have him explain deeper. So the addition problem that I had him solve was 12 and 32 hundredths plus 27 and 81 hundredths. So I taught using a place value chart, and my focus was that we would use proper math language, and that that place value chart would be a great visual for him to see how and why we, so to speak, carry the one. What we're actually doing is regrouping. So when we look at the tenths here, we have 3/10 and 8/10. And when we add that together, that's 11/10. So when we regroup that, we get 1/10 and 1/1. And then we also have another example of regrouping with those ones. So I wanted the student to have practice with that regrouping and making sure that that math language was there. With the subtraction example, I had 68 and 25 hundredths, take away 29 and 726 thousandths. Similarly, I wanted the student practicing that regrouping, but this time we're going in the other direction. We can't take 6 thousandths away from 0 thousandths, so we have to regroup the 5/10 or 500, and regroup that to be 4 hundredths and then 10 thousandths. And so we got a few different opportunities to regroup throughout that problem, and then again we were just able to focus on the one, correct language, and then two, the proper place value of tenths, hundredths, thousandths. With the multiplication example, I did 1 and 2/10 times 1 and 2/10. This was a great way. I thought it was a simple enough problem. And then the student could look and see, okay, we have a little over 1 times a little over 1. So my answer should be a little over 1. This is a good way for the student to check to see maybe they put the decimal in the wrong place. And then also if we solve a similar example of 12 times 12, we can use the rule that people often hear of to the right of a decimal. That's how many you move it over in the final answer. And the student knew that, so I was able to explain using some of that language why that rule works. This was especially available. I used the area model where we're multiplying, just finding the total area using partial areas. So when we're multiplying tenth by tenth, tenth by 1, 1 by tenth, and then 1 by 1, the student's able to see this is what we're actually solving for in those partial parts or those partial products. So I thought that was a really good example, and it was able to focus on that math language. Using division, my student already knew the traditional algorithm that we use, so I used 3 and 25 hundredths divided by 1/2 or divided by 5/10. So we were able to use the subtraction method, and the student was able to kind of learn that grouping system, which was really cool. And then the numbers also come out pretty clean, so the student's able to practice that as well. Looking back, definitely be patient. The student might know what they're doing or have a pretty good sense of it, but there might be some holes and gaps, especially the younger the student. Next tip is go slow to go fast. The better their understanding on decimals is, the better their understanding of addition will be. And then the better the addition, same with subtraction because they're inverses. And the same is true with the multiplication and the division. So just be patient, connect to what they know. They probably, again, have that understanding, but there's probably some gaps, and it's going to be especially with that math language. But overall, the teaching went really good, and it was a really cool experience. Just have fun with it.